Call this meeting, West Burlington City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Crowner, or Christie?
Here.
Crowner?
Here.
Heitmeyer? Lees?
Here.
Waterman?
Need to perfect and approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Crowner?
Aye.
Lees?
Aye.
Waterman?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Motion carried. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve is presented.
Support.
The motion with support to approve consent agenda items 1 through 13, which are the minutes from the regular city council meeting on January 6, 2021, the clerk's monthly financial report for November, payment to Bauer Build Tire, payment to Bazine Electric, payment to Center State, payment to Ferguson Water Works, payment to Iowa Pump Works, payment to Municipal Supply, payment to Spear Financial, renewal liquor license for the Broadway Grill, payment to Des Moines County Emergency Communications, payment to Des Moines County GIS Commission, and the claims list that's presented in the amount of $482,110.38. Any discussion? Roll call.
Lees?
Aye.
Waterman?
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Crowner?
Aye.
Motion carried. Staff reports. Dan?
I don't have anything tonight.
Anybody have anything for Dan? Mike? You got nothing either? Wow. Anybody have anything for Mike? Jesse?
I better not say I have nothing, so.
Guess you could have made a trifecta.
Could have. Just two things, I think. First one is we're going to be out doing our tobacco buys here in the next couple of weeks that we go around to all the retailers in West Burlington. So we'll see that going on. Guys are working grant again through the state of Iowa, enforcing for OWIs. And the last thing is we assisted the Southeast Iowa Narcotics Task Force today on arresting one of their guys that came in on a bus. So we assisted them on that today. That's all I've got.
Do you have anything for Jess? Yeah,
Thank
good job with that. Sean?
Building side, did have one business license, new business in town that I issued a license for. Also, the inspections out at Menards, we did the water flow sprinkler tests. Their static pressure's holding right at about 38 pounds on that. Fire side, a few of us have gotten and received our first shots. The only kind of side effects or whatever, we did have one person indicate that they had the fatigue, the shortness of breath and stuff, but that went away shortly thereafter. Myself, I had just nonstop coughing for a day, and then the next day I had a sinus. I couldn't get rid of my sinus buildup, but then after that I've been fine. And it feels like a tetanus shot. It's not that bad, just a sore arm. Anything you got for me?
Anybody have anything? I think with the COVID shots, the 1Bs are going to be able to start around February 1st. Whatever group that fall in.
For anyone interested, those of us that have received it at the fire department, it's been the Moderna or Modera. It's been that one, not the Pfizer one. So.
All righty, thanks. Kelly, you got anything?
Not tonight.
Leslie? Kathy?
Yeah, I attended the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting as liaison for the council, and it was January 7th, and they approved the final plat for the West Burlington Industrial Park subdivision. That's that area out there where the old Raiders building is. And the commission was told that there is a company definitely buying that building.
Yep. Okay. Andy, got anything?
Not tonight, sir.
Reese?
No.
Al?
Good.
Okay. Anyone wishing to address the council on matters that are not on the agenda tonight? Go to old business, which item number 1 is to consider a proposal from Submarine Quarry to host a municipal code. I think we tabled that the last meeting. They're willing to put the code online for an initial setup fee of $750 and then $450 annual fee after that.
Because when I tabled this last week, my question was for Brad, is just why we're doing this, what the point was.
Well, I think the question ought to be going to Kelly more than likely instead of Brad.
Oh,
Why
I can,
we're-
yeah, I can answer that. I didn't know if you had something specific for Brad, but
She's the one that works with the codes every
Yeah.
day.
The main thing is Kelly having to link it all every time. Gordy, come here.
it's very tedious to go through and try to link that whole table of contents to that code to make it a good searchable document. There's a lot of companies that do host city codes, very expensive to host it. So the company that does our codification each year has started hosting them, and it's a much nicer looking document, easier to search, nicer to print out when you find what you're looking for. Most every city website you go to has a professional way of looking up something in their code. So we're kind of moving towards that instead of having so many books spread around.
Would this be updated more often than what we currently have, or would it still only be yearly?
I tend to do it yearly, but we could do it every time we do an ordinance. We just don't have that many that we do. So I usually hold off and do them all at once. But they have a nice, they have a nice supplement area right at the top that shows, that will link all the ordinances that have been updated, been passed since the last codification.
And then when you go to download it, you can check either what chapter you want, or you can just download the whole thing.
Yeah.
I can't say in support of what Kelly Brad is proposal. I get a lot of phone calls, emails, asking about our city code, is it searchable online? Those that did look say that it's hard to find something online. I end up having to, I'll pull it out, and I have to scan it, email it to them. And I did have one company this summer that I was going back and forth with that said a lot of cities have theirs in a very searchable format online. They can't find what they're looking for on ours, and I had to go dig for it.
Just a lot of people are using the website a lot more than they used to, so it'd be nice to have something professional, and I think this is a good price compared to some of the others that I've seen. Mainly because Brad hosts the rest of the website. A lot of other places do both.
The thing I also like about it, and this is a plus for me, is the fact that it's in HTML, so it requires no third-party rendering. So, like when you open a PDF, it usually uses a different, like Microsoft has it built in to where it pulls up. It looks completely different than if you go over here to Google Chrome and pull it up, because the way they render it is a little bit different. I do have it to where you can also send it to Google Docs and pull it up that way. The problem with it is sometimes it takes a while to generate that, just because the code book's so long. When we hit preview, remember,
Yeah.
it takes a little bit for it to render into Google Docs.
And Kelly, you're just talking about going into the PDF and adding links from the topic down to the page, is that what you're talking about?
That's what she usually does, yeah.
I haven't this last time, just because it's so tedious, and there's parts of the code that nobody really looks at, but when you do it, you just kind of follow the table of contents, and it's just makes it a little bit easier to search. At least it takes you to that chapter.
Have you ever linked stuff in Adobe? Yeah, select it, and then you gotta scroll down to the page and hit set link. And I don't know, how long does that take you usually?
I mean, it's one of those things that I have to work on and off while I have time, so.
You said 700 to start out with. Did we put the reoccurring fee on there?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is
150
in
a
there.
year.
So it's up to you guys whether you think the money's worth it to have that on our website.
Is this for just 1 year, or is there a contract length?
It's yearly. The 700 is the initial setup,
Yes.
and then it's
450 is yearly.
for the maintenance.
But we're just signing a 1-year agreement?
There's no contract that I can see when I looked at the document.
My suggestion would be that this doesn't get purchased and then forgotten, that we actually look at the stats and see a
How
year
many
from
people
now,
use it?
are people actually using this or not?
I'll have to ask them if they'll allow us to put our Google Analytics in there.
I would
So-
think they would at least provide you with number of searches or number of pages
Yeah,
read.
or if they do that, but I like Google Analytics because it shows people from West Burlington looking at it as opposed to, bots, counting the bots that come in and crawl the pages.
The only other thing I would say about it, because I think it looks a lot better, I don't like on ours that right now there's multiple copies up on our website, so I know I personally, trying to find the water rates, I found water rates from 2 years ago that weren't updated, so hopefully this would alleviate that. The only thing I don't like about this is their search function seems to be not extremely accurate. Just on the few searches I've done for water rates and sign ordinances and things like that on Coralville, it's pulling some information that probably isn't what the citizen's gonna be looking for. So I don't see a problem with this. It's better than what we got. I would look for feedback over the next year to see if this is what we really want and if people are using it.
And then do you want the current feedback on the PDF document too from Analytics?
Not if we go ahead with this tonight.
Okay.
Was that a motion, Andy? If not, I'll make a motion to approve it.
Support. Motion with support. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carried. New business is to consider the final reading of an ordinance amending the water rates. And those will increase $1.34 per thousand.
Motion to approve.
Support. Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Waterman,
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 2 is to consider the first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 73 of the City Code concerning special 35-mile-an-hour speed zones. This would be changing the code where it's present 45 mile an hour to Agency to Washington Road to 35 mile an hour, and Division Street Broadway to South Gear to 35.
That is just an extension. Yes, yeah, it just hadn't been,
Clarification there.
yeah.
It's already 35.
Motion approved.
Support. Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Heitmeyer, or, let's see, Waterman.
Aye. Motion carried. Item number 3 is to consider a resolution waiving the second and third reading of an ordinance amending section 73.13.285 of the West Burlington Municipal Code titled Special 35 mile an hour speed zones.
So move.
I know we did this in the past, but it was when it was a state mandated item that we had to do anyway. We had no choice in the matter. Whereas this one is something we're voluntarily doing. So I won't be supporting it because I think we should follow the proper process.
Well, I never have heard a second yet, so the motion's failed.
I think I just put it on there because we'd followed the process of going through the study is why. So that's fine, we can have 3 readings.
Well, this would have taken all 4 aye votes to pass anyway. The second and the third, to waive the second and the third.
Yeah.
So more likely you wouldn't have got that. So just put down the second reading at the next
Sure.
meeting.
Yep.
Item number 4 is consider entering into an engineering service agreement with French Reniker Associates in connection with the resurfacing of Mount Pleasant Street from Gear Avenue west approximately 4,500 feet to the Highway 34 exit ramp. And Steve Hauser's here. French Reniker.
I thought he retired.
That's what we thought too.
I retired, really?
No, we hadn't seen you forever.
I got a couple years before I get to retire. So Hans just described the project on Mount Pleasant Street, west of Gear Avenue to the exit ramps. I believe you're planning on doing an HMA overlay, probably some milling and a little bit of patching on that stretch. The city has been awarded a $405,000 federal grant to assist with the project. Let's see, Matt's notes here told me that you're planning on doing about 500 feet of Mount Pleasant Street converted to 3-lane. However, when I looked at it and I went back and talked to him, it's a pretty short stretch from Gear Avenue going south to where it starts splitting off. So I'd say there's some room, and probably Matt will be working with you guys to how you really want to do the lane geometry there. So anyway, that's minor detail. We will be following the DOT letting schedule since it has to be let by the DOT. So that part is a little different from our normal local projects. The construction may begin this fall or in the spring of 2021. Unfortunately, when you go through a DOT letting, you don't have much say in the construction period. The DOT sets that for us or for you. The estimated total cost of the project is $1,290,000. Design fee in this agreement is $47,000 lump sum, and construction-related services will be on an hourly basis, and we've budgeted $74,000 for that. If you ever watched our agreements before, lots of times the EDC CO work during construction work is very similar cost to what the design work is. This one's a bit higher, and that's primarily due to all the extra testing and certifications that the DOT requires, including at the end of the whole project, they come and audit all of our records and make sure everything's in accordance with their standards. We will be hiring a sub-consultant for a small piece during construction, and that is for the HMA plant monitoring that's required by Iowa DOT. So the total estimated fee for the engineering is $121,000 from start of design to end of construction. Is there any questions?
My major concern is this project, along with the landfill sewer lift station, along with the water tower, all kind of in that same area during the same time frame. Has that been discussed at all?
Landfill will be done, that force main, and as soon as we get to the water main, will be pushed through there too. The tower project, the length of that in the possibly 2022 is the direction of the tower. All the mains and stuff will be getting done as soon as weather breaks. So all that piping and digging up and down Mount Pleasant is just going to go on through up to the first of midsummer. That if the weather permits, that'll all be done, shoulders back on, reseeded to be done. That was my concern too, that I don't want to resurface a road when we're got 2 other projects that are digging down the side of the road. But if this project does start to possibly late fall,
for the following year. I don't foresee, unless we want to put something in there saying they can't start until that's done, but then again, you're working with DOT and I don't know what the,
I don't think we have a lot of choice with this grant and the DOT doing it and when this gets done, so.
Well, what I do know for sure is, and I'm sorry, I'm not real familiar with your project here, other than what I've been briefed on with Matt. A DOT project, from the time we start design to the time that it gets let by the DOT, they open bids, is an absolute minimum of 6 months. So it's already second half of January, you're looking at around July at the various earliest to open bids. Once bids are open, it's usually at least 30 days at the very quickest for a contractor to get all his bonds, his insurance and everything else together and to have a signed contract with you. So now you're into August. So that would be the absolute earliest I could see any contractor thinking about working.
The landfill is ahead of schedule. Yeah, I think they're gonna finish early. And the water tower, it's gonna go on for 18 months.
boring is in the ditches, it's not on the surface of the road. The water main is laid in the ditch off the shoulder.
And timing of this grant money, is there a time this has to be spent before we lose it?
I think you got 2 years, I think, from the federal fiscal year when it's available.
And that started this year or last year?
That is, it's available last October. So we're in the middle of the first fiscal year. With the DOT process, we're probably pushing it into the middle of the second year, or the beginning of the second year.
This is just my guess, based on my experience with HMA projects. If you're opening bids in June or July, or any time after that, and again, the DOT is gonna set the schedule, the construction period, it's not gonna happen this year. It'll be next year. By the time you get to the middle of the summer, most HMA paving contractors are booked for the rest of the year, so they're not gonna be able to squeeze it in. And I doubt that DOT will put a completion date of this year on it either.
We were pretty fortunate to get Houston Street done before November this year. I think it was right before November that they did it. But it all depends on how big the contractors are too, so.
Yeah, and I forget, when was Houston Street bids open?
Houston,
You know when you opened bids for Houston Street?
I don't remember. It wasn't a DOT project though, so.
No.
it was our project.
We need to be accepted for the water tower project. We're still waiting on permits and stuff, they can start that, even though the bid goes out, gets accepted. Like you said, it seems like it's months before all the final paperwork's done before you even get a started project, so. I honestly agree, I don't even see it starting this fall, because it'll be in the winter or cold, and I can't imagine them tearing up that road with frost and snow coming.
I guess my last question, and don't get me wrong, these questions are not leading to, I don't think we should do this, because I think we should use this $400,000 if it's sitting there. It's more just the timing of it. Why would we approve this tonight? And this is a process question, when, if it's not gonna start this year, we could probably have this as part of the budget discussion and wait 2 or 3 weeks here and have that as part of the overall discussion of the budget, and our capital projects, instead of approving this evening. Is there a reason we have to do this tonight?
I think the earlier you start on it, the earlier it might get done. also, this money has been approved 2 years ago, actually. So, I mean, the STP funding is usually 2 to 3 years behind. You apply for it, and if you apply for it this year, you might be able to get it in 2024.
I think we got this approved in 2017 for this, so it's been going on 3 years now since we were awarded the grant.
I can't speak for the city schedule, but from my standpoint as the engineer, we're gonna be a little rushed to get this let by June or July in order following the DOT schedule. I mean, we'll be turning final plans in at least 2 months before the bid opening. They require it to be done that far ahead of time.
It needs to be done. The road needs to be done. It needs to be resurfaced.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion with support. Is there any further discussion? Roll call.
Crowner,
Nay.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman,
Aye.
Christie.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thanks, Steve.
You.
Okay, item number 5 is to consider resolution approving the final plat for West Burlington Industrial Park. Kathy mentioned that earlier, so
Motion approved.
Support.
motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman,
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 6 is consider payment to Snyder Associates for engineering services related to the Lewis Park sponsored project in the amount of $3,125.
So move.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Waterman,
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
And motion carried. Item number 7 is consider a resolution setting a public hearing to establish the maximum property tax dollars that may be certified for fiscal year 2021, 2022 for February 17th. And the maximum levy to be set is $10 per 1,000 of assessed value.
Motion to approve at $10.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman.
Carried. Item number 8 is to consider a resolution appointing Mayor Trousel, Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Commission Board of Directors for 2021.
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? I'll be happy to do her one more year. Roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman,
Aye.
Christie.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 9 is to discuss closing the yardway side during the construction of Mount Pleasant Water Street Water Tower and Booster Station project. Mike gave me a call last week, and this is why I put it on the agenda. The contractors are wanting to build a tower. They determined that the west part of the site is in the safety zone, and they would definitely like to close that part of it, which is the brush site. And so here we are. We need to discuss what you want to do. Mike's got an idea. Come on up and tell us. I think I got an idea. Each one of you probably has an idea, so.
Point of closing it, it's in their safe zone, and with their regulations, the height of the tower and things falling, they're not gonna be digging or building the tower that close to it, but they have to have this fenced off so far out. So it will be the brush pile and possibly the back corner of the leaf pile and grass pile, which we knew when this plan came out that was a possibility that this was gonna have to be shut, so. Depending on their start time and when they're there, I mean, nobody's using it this time of year anyway, but they're already, trying to, like I said, there's documents to be signed and finished, and the foundation people are sitting here ready to come in and start putting the foundation in and get started. So as soon as the documents are signed, equipment and stuff's gonna start showing up. And they have an issue with all of the supplies, all the water main, all the valves, all the fittings, and where to put them and what to do, besides all the concrete forms, and there's so much room. We suggested that they could use those bins to put their equipment in, put temporary gates up, so, and they're under camera, so somebody can't steal fittings and stuff from the contractors that are working. It gives them a secure place to store their construction equipment while this is being built. So I don't know from there, I guess, what you guys want to do.
Are there any options besides just close it?
I don't, the only option I have is there's some bins at the water plant, but they're, once again, when this stuff's signed, they want to start immediately on that in cold weather because they want to start the demo of the old plant right now. And in the demo, that means parking lot bins. I mean, the whole thing's going to be a grass lot when they're done, so we can't go there.
Okay.
Wherever we move it, I don't know how we would control it. We still fight that where we're at with trash and tires and batteries. I don't know how you post somebody there. I mean, I honestly do not know or have a good answer. Moving it to, I've been suggested maybe down by the fire training site, and to me that's already a dump site for some people. Sean's has people dumping stuff there now. We're gonna create a mess. Wherever we move it to, without being there where it's cambered and somewhat controlled while we're there all day, I don't have an answer on what to do.
Didn't we just spend a couple $1,000s on a new camera for this?
Yes. But this is temporary. This is till the tower's up and done.
Temporary is a year and a half?
Roughly,
year?
yeah. And then,
This season.
I mean, at that point, if people can figure out to go around the corner and dump their own grass and leaves and be done with it, then maybe it won't be temporary. I mean, I don't know. I don't make those decisions. I just know that we really don't have a choice right now, but it's coming up that it'll be closed.
Well, as much of a controversial thing this was the last time when we even decided to have it there. And I see one person on Facebook today already demanding that there's another side.
Well, I know in my 25 years here, the amount of brush and trees I've hauled out of this town, there shouldn't be a tree standing in this town, honestly, or in Burlington as far as that goes. It's, if you guys really understood how much we haul, manpower, gas, tires, I mean, the trips, it's just insane what we haul out of there.
Well, I got a couple alternatives for you. Well, three actually. One is nothing. Make people take their stuff to the dump, like we end up doing it for them. Two is maybe we could get to talk together with the contractor, and after they take down the ground storage tank and the buildings, to leave the pad and use that site temporarily. But I think even putting a time on it, or what can be dumped, leaves and grass only, no more brush, because the brush costs us to haul out there. And the other site, and I've been kicking that around, is behind the pool, between the pool and the diamond, put up those concrete barriers and have a kind of halfway secure site, and only have that site open from October 1st till November 30th, just for leaves.
I think my preference would be just to close it down completely for that length of time. People are only, what, a mile or two from the landfill as it is. They can just go right on down the highway, I think, just for a short, this next leaf season. That might be easier than trying to control them over there behind the pool, I don't know.
That's my least favorite site, Kathy,
Oh,
but,
okay.
and that's just an option I'm throwing out there.
Yeah.
I guess I have two thoughts in my head. Number one is that I feel like we just had this discussion and I was told that it was gonna be fine. And so I feel like this is coming right on the back of this already, we just talked about this. So, I'm not very happy about that, because this should have been planned out, I think, when we started the water tower project, to have an idea what we were gonna do for this.
Part of that was waiting on contractors and stuff, and the actual, I don't know, their safety commission or whoever decides on the size of the bowl, and I know that didn't get figured to the end either, was with the height and the topped for the pipe inside, for the head pressure. There was a lot of those things that were still in the works.
From the very beginning of the
Yeah.
design phase, we were told that this could happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It wasn't, that it wasn't planned or anything. We were told that it could
There was
possibly
a
happen.
possibility.
So
Yeah,
it's not a surprise.
Well, I guess I feel like I asked this question 2 months ago when we were talking about the camera, and then was told the opposite way. But I agree with you. I don't think it's a surprise, and we should have a plan in place. I am personally okay with saying, hey, look, for one season, we got to inconvenience people. You got to go the extra mile and drop it off. But I would not be okay personally with the future plan being to close it down. I want to have it. I think it's a great thing for our citizens. I know I use it all the time because I can't usually get out there when the dump's open. That's not when I have time available to do the yard work and haul things. I could explain to other citizens, though, that, hey, we got to close this down this 1 year, but we're bringing it right back.
Especially since we just bought the camera.
I don't think the intent was ever to close it completely, right?
No,
Yeah, just
No.
temporarily.
it would be nice. That's my personal feeling.
It'd save
That's
you
been my
money.
personal feeling all along.
It would save money on
It
landfill
would definitely
fees.
save money.
What, Kelly, I didn't hear what you
I
said.
think it would save money on landfill fees, because we have to haul that out and pay for the disposal of some of it.
I wish there was a way to work with them to have a public drop-off out there that was open 24 hours a day.
They would tell you the same thing I'm telling you. If it's not manned or controlled, you can't imagine the amount of trash and stuff that would be dumped together. We still fight that with trash bags that have garbage. Why Burlington stopped it, they used to have place for brush out by the airport, and they just put a stop to it because people wouldn't abide by it and just kept dumping garbage on them, and That's why Burlington doesn't have the facility anymore either. They just gave up on it.
I think we should still publicize strongly that we'll pick them up if they're, put out in bags, like, when you guys ever do that, on Mondays, or,
And is there any way to add something to that where if they have a giant tree limb come down that they can't easily haul out there, that we can do something? Is that a possibility?
Drag it in the street.
if it's if it's storm related, we usually
We usually
go
pick
around
up
and
storm
pick 'em
related.
up.
If it's still in the grass between the curb and sidewalk, I will still pick up those things. But if you get to where everybody's picking everything up in their yard and throwing it out and piling it by the curb and so it's hard to distinguish. I've actually seen people out in the storm drag it out in the street so that we would pick it up.
I know I've had one that was large enough I couldn't haul in a truck. I ended up having to get out a saw and saw the thing in several pieces. And
Well, our yard waste won't take anything that big anyway. It's supposed to only be
Yeah.
4 foot long and 2 inches in diameter, so.
That's why we have to saw them up too in a storm when you got stuff that's over a certain diameter. They can only be 4 foot long, so that's why you see us running around with chainsaws cutting them up before we're loading them in trucks.
Well, I don't want to see it permanently closed because if we all remember the survey we sent out, that was one of the biggest pat on the backs that we got, was the yard waste. And I suppose people can do whatever with their grass. I'm sure it's going to be curbside now because they won't have a place to bag it and take it. So I think we'll probably see more of that issue in the curbs. And for the leaves, I guess if they can just bag them up and have them out there on Mondays for you guys to pick up. But I agree with Andy, it should only be for a temporary 1-year thing. Because, I'm one of those working people and I'm out there at like 7, 8 o'clock at night with other people dropping off leaves.
In that
And
time
grass.
frame, we'll know more as the tower goes up. I mean, once the bowl's set, crane's taken down, even though they're still working mountain pumps and doing all that, once that safety net area is done, well, I guess it won't be till after the painters, will it? Because the painters have to be set up out there to be painting it too, so.
Once they get the structure up, though, we ought to be able to, at
At that
least
point, I mean,
use the east one, probably.
yeah, I mean, it's no guarantee, but it's possible that I could get one bin open for leaf season this year, maybe, I don't know. That's gonna depend on the project and how things go and what I can't promise anybody any of that. It's like I said, by the time you get to midsummer to the end of summer, all the water main fittings will be in the ground, so they won't be storing stuff there, and if the bowl's already up, and, I mean, there's a time frame when, maybe they can move in themselves, and it'll be safe for people to go to that outside bin, and not the brush, but we could get it where they could, maybe this fall, a place to still take your leaves. But I can't promise that because I don't know.
yeah,
That's all depends on project and contractors and weather and.
Hans, I appreciate you going out and thinking of some other ideas. I'd be okay with that between the pool and the diamond there, as you talked about it. I'm okay with that option as well for leaf season. I don't think we necessarily have to make that call today, but I think that's a good option too.
So what's the consensus here?
Is that option over between the ball diamond and the pool, is that just for leaves and grass or just leaves?
Just for the leaves. I imagine
Because the
there'll be
grass
some-
gets stinky pretty
some-
fast.
somebody will probably throw grass in, but
I mean,
I would much prefer to use the old water plant side, because it's
I'm okay
closer
with
for these guys.
I'm okay with that.
That's,
Problem with the
There.
grass, you all know
Well-
what that smells like when we had it in town, and it smells like that at our shop, and we'll be making a huge mess and rot smell at the pool and the ball diamonds that
Yeah,
every time it rains, you can't control that decomposing grass. It's a mess. And I know a lot of people pick their leaves up, mulching with their mower and cutting their grass together, so I mean,
That side is closest to the shops, and also, but we'd have to talk with the contractor to see if they could, I'm sure
Yeah,
they
that's
could
up to
tear
you. I
that
mean,
pad out at the,
I'm sure it wouldn't
at
bother
the
them.
end.
I'm sure it wouldn't bother them a bit if they didn't have to take out less, but, and leave those there's 3 small bins, they don't hold as much, but, at least it'd be somewhere for people to go up and dump it if. And once again, that all depends on time frame and where they're at on demo. I mean, if they got piles of concrete and rubble and steel, when leaves start falling and they ain't got it hauled away yet, I mean, then that's out too. I mean, it's all in how the project goes.
My only thought on that one, maybe both things could be handled at the same time, depending on the timing of it, but my hope is that when we demolish that, we can really make the corner lot there look really nice, so that we can attract a business or a land swap in there. To me, it was the stigma of turning that into the drop-off area. But maybe it's possible to do that and then really clean it up afterwards, but that was my
That's
initial
my
thought.
idea.
Yeah, if we leave just enough for a turnaround, the dump, for us to get in there and load, and then, once we open this stuff, then, and I don't know that you can get the same contractor to come back down, but we may have to go in there and bust
Well,
forms and
It
footings.
would probably be,
We can pull the parking lot,
they would still be here, more than likely.
yeah.
I mean, they're gonna be here, or,
Well, the demo crew would be gone if everything else is
That's true.
done. Just depends on what equipment they still have, because at that point, I'm guessing their track hose and everything will be gone, because all the water main will be in the ground, and they won't have, that equipment will be already moved out of here and gone somewhere else, but once
I
again,
didn't think about that part of it.
that's just all on how it falls together.
So everybody is okay with closing that one out there temporarily?
we don't have a choice.
Hmm?
We don't have a choice.
Don't have a choice. I just wanna make sure you guys are.
We do need to get this out on our website and our Facebook, and everybody, we'll have to get a sign made.
I think once he puts it on Facebook, Brad, we'll know. They'll know.
I would highly suggest it not just being an image saying this is closed. I would make sure people know that there's a reason and a time frame.
Yep.
So the consensus is to close it temporarily, but is there another alternative that you want to,
And we can pick
Yeah.
around another alternative.
I don't think we'll know until
Yeah.
we see where the project's going towards fall. So I think right now you put in, we're considering other options and we'll let you know later.
closing as of what day?
Well, whenever they get their permits and stuff and get ready to go.
Those are just questions that people are gonna have when I put it out there.
Well, I don't think anybody's using it right now.
No, that's the
Kinda
point.
hard to
There-
cut
there has-
grass.
Nobody's raking their yard or trimming trees right now, so to me, that's the perfect time to advertise it and say, next Monday it's closed, or
I'd just say for the season, because people start mowing grass the end of March, April.
March, April. And we're working on an alternative site.
Otherwise, we can give them Sean's address and they can dump it out there.
I got enough concrete out there that we ended up having to dispose of.
Have little weenie rows.
We're working on a solution, and it's a home with just the concrete discussed it on this one. All right, item number 10 is consider Board of Adjustments decision to grant a variance at 102 Summer Street to allow the placement of a fence on a corner lot. And they had that meeting last Thursday,
Yes.
and the board agreed to the variance. So it's up to you people to
Motion approved.
approve or reject. Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman.
Motion carried. Anyone wishing to address the council on matters we did discuss, or didn't discuss tonight?
I just had one thing for, it'll be on next council agenda about the new no parking zone that we're gonna put up by the administration building, up by the schools. So you'll see that next week. We had concerns about the entrance into the administration building, and cars parked right up to their driveway, people trying to pull in there, so we got about 60 foot that we're gonna have no parking from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. during school days.
On the south side?
On the south side of that drive into the elementary admin building.
I'm happy to get a sign that says from 7 to 5 or 4:30, whatever Jesse wants, and we got it okay to put the post, but be on the next.
Or just school hours?
Yeah, during school hours.
During school hours.
Yeah. I just forgot to bring that up earlier. I just wanted to throw that out there that you guys will see that next week. So that's what that's, or the next meeting, that's what that's about.
Thanks for moving so quick on that. I know that is a safety concern there, so thanks for moving on it.
That will have to have 3 readings of an ordinance, it'll be an ordinance change.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you. We're gonna have a budget work session.